If you're emotionally healthy and you know it, clap your hands. All right, that's good to know because I think you may be in the minority here in Malaysia. Do you know that here in Malaysia, let's see if I can, there we go, using humor for a change. Here in Malaysia, according to the Asia Mental Health Index, Malaysia is #1 in stress, anxiety, depression, affected productivity. According to the emotional wellness app Plus Vibes, which has 40,000 users here in Malaysia, 78% of you are stressed. And then a lot of other things. I mean, we are definitely living in disruptive times, right? I mean, you've heard about VUCA. Now, have you heard about Bonnie? That's like the new VUCA. Bonnie, you'll hear much more about it. I think I've just started to read about it. It's starting to show up. Bonnie is brittle, anxious, non-linear. Anybody want to guess what the I stands for? No? Okay, then I'm going to look to remind myself so that I get the I. That's right. Now it looks familiar now. Incomprehensible. So what do we do living in VUCA, Bonnie, disruptive times? How do we find our solace? How do we find peace? How do we find emotional wellness? How do we really become leaders of the future? Well, I believe our secret weapon is humor. How many would say you have a pretty good sense of humor? That's it? One person? How many used to have a good sense of humor? Okay, how many have never had a sense of humor, but maybe somewhere you think there's hope? How many are not going to raise their hand for anything? All right. A sense of humor is more than just the ability to tell jokes, right? Because anyone with a sense of timing and a memory can tell jokes. True test of a sense of humor is your ability to take yourself lightly during tense situations. It's the ability to find something funny in life's inconveniences. If I wanted my dad to lose his sense of humor when I was growing up, all I would have to do is bring home my report card. Junior high school, worst report card ever. My dad beats me to the mailbox, pulls out my report card during dinner, and he says, "Scott, what is this?" I said, "Dad, it's one person's opinion. Must we talk about it?" One person's opinion, huh? How come Andy doesn't get C's and D's on his report card? Andy was my best friend growing up. I could never quite measure up to Andy. I said, "Dad, you can't compare me to Andy. We are so much different." "Oh, are you? How are you so much different?" I said, "Dad, Andy has very bright parents." Took me a long time before I could sit down and laugh at that. But we have opportunities to lose our sense of humor every single day, don't we? Sure we do. The highest form of humor is the ability to laugh at ourselves. See, if you can laugh at yourself, you will never cease to be amused. You will always have something to laugh at. And the older we get, the more there is to laugh at. It's a leadership quality. Highest form of humor, the ability to laugh at yourself. I love Jack Welch, who created this amazing learning environment at General Electric, where Roshan worked for many years and learned the Jack Welch philosophy. He said, really the secret to business, he said, is you take your work seriously. You do serious stuff, we all do, right? But you take yourself lightly. That's the real key. Now I brought with me, was actually in Manila not long ago, and I brought with me the Manila Times, all the way from the Philippines. I'm going to compare your life to the Business Times from Manila, when it's in its full form like you see here. This represents when life is really good. You come to the Global Leadership Summit. You hear some of the greatest speakers, thought leaders from around the world. You're learning to create better habits. You're learning about leadership, how do you build relationships, realizing that maybe you shouldn't get in the wrong taxi at the wrong time. Given that you wondered why God gave you two mouths and just one ear when everybody else has two ears and one mouth, to become a better listener. All right, and then you leave this afternoon. Tomorrow you can't wait to share all these great ideas around the office, and certain things rip away at you, cause you stress. You know, we're going to pretty much have stress almost every day, aren't we? So this is the part of the program, if something is causing you stress, something that you may have come in with, now you have a chance just to let it go. Just scream it out. What are some of the things that cause you stress? Anybody? All right, relationships, right? First up today, I mean, how many of you have tension in your relationships at work? Yeah, we have, right? Maybe at home you're going through a little bit of conflict. Okay, let's do that. All right, what else? What else causes you stress? How about traffic in KL? Huh. They keep building, but the infrastructure, that's good for a rip or two, right? All right, how about you think you're overworked and underpaid? Anybody feel like you're probably not a bad one? A double rip for that one, maybe? Maybe your kid is doing inappropriate posting on TikTok. Anybody fall into that category? Or Instagram or somewhere along that could be a stressor for sure. All right, let's see. Oh. Okay, what else? I mean, this is your chance. I mean, don't let it go. What else causes you stress? Financial? Yeah, financial. Well, all right. Never quite having the amount of money you want to do the things you want to do. All right. Excuse me for a sec. Okay. How many have had a day like this before? Yeah? Anybody a week like this? A month? A year? Yeah? Anybody's life seem a little bit too close to this? All right, here's the key. When you let circumstances and emotions dictate your outcomes, where you lose connection, where you lose focus, you lose sight of all the good that you do, these are the days that you have. When you let life control you instead of you controlling life, these are the days. But the good news is, with every single stressor we have in our life, every single challenge, every single problem, there always comes a gift. If you keep your sense of humor and you focus on the gifts, then just like magic, we can restore all these torn feelings. Watch this. That's the first time it's ever worked. But what we realize is that the true spirit of laughter encourages the belief that there is good in bad situations. And it's looking for the good that allows us to find the funny, or it's looking for the funny that allows us to find the good, when a lot of other people can't. It all goes back to where our focus is. And if we can use humor, this is how I got through COVID, or some of these fun things. Take a look at this real quick. Yeah, see, if you look for the humor will find you. Never buy a mask at a thrift store. You never know where that thing has been before. Yeah, if we can use humor as a Aikido. Aikido is a martial arts, and the philosophy behind Aikido is instead of attacking back when you're attacked, what you do is you take the force or the energy and you blend with it. So if somebody screams at you, your first inclination may be what? To scream back, right? But if we're using humor as Aikido, instead of screaming back, you blend with the energy. So somebody says, "Who's the idiot in charge here?" "I'm head idiot. What can I do for you?" "Do you suffer from insanity?" "No, I'm starting to enjoy it much more now." So you see how that's this blending? You don't get upset. You don't let yourself. You look for the humor, using humor as Aikido. When I was young, my brother and I used to wait by our dryer downstairs for the unmatched sock to come through. And as soon as it did, we would roll it up in a ball. We put 2 rubber bands around it. To us, it looked just like a regulation-size American NFL football. And on any given night, we could represent all of the NFL teams right there in our hallway. And my dad used to get mad at us because we would tear up the carpet with our cleats. There were black marks all over the wall. But one night, my dad came home and started telling us that we should stop playing in the hallway. We go, "Dad, we can't stop playing. It's the middle of the third quarter. Score's tied 14-14. Get real, would you?" He says, "I'll get real." Sends us to our rooms, grounds us for the night. Middle of the night, my brother wakes up, writes a note, and he pins it to my dad's door. And the note reads, "Be good to your sons, and your sons will be good to you. Yours truly, God." Next night, there's a note pinned to my brother's door, and the note reads, "Be good to your parents, and maybe your parents will let you live in the house. Yours truly, God's Father." All right, see, an unexpected, humorous response can absorb the anger and redirect it without putting the other person down. See, it's taking advantage of using humor as Aikido. And a form of that is planned spontaneity. Planned spontaneity sounds like 2 words that don't even go together, right? Right? But I use planned spontaneity as coming to work ready to play. Coming to life ready to play. We have so much pressure, so much stress and anxiety in the workplace, in life today. We need to take time to truly focus on the light side, poking fun at ourselves, looking for the humor all around us. Me and a buddy are watching a speaker. Speaker falls off the stage. Buddy turns to me and says, "Hey, what would you say right now if you fell off a stage?" I thought about it real quick. I said, probably say something like, "Oh, don't mind me. It's just a stage I'm going through." I said, "What would you say?" He says, "I will now take questions from the floor." So if I fall off a stage, I'm going with his. I will now take questions from the floor because it's a lot funnier, right? You ever been to a dinner party and you're in the bathroom at somebody's house and somebody, jiggles the door to see if somebody's in there, and what do you say? If that's the case, "Men here, be out in a minute," right? Next time, try this. "Come in. I've been waiting." I mean, you want to spice up a dinner party, that will spice up a dinner party. Right? So looking for the humor. It's funny, my name is Scott, but if anybody is going to call me a different name, they call me Steve. In fact, so many people call me Steve, I think sometimes I should have been named Steve. So whenever we call somebody a wrong name or somebody calls us a wrong name, there's a little moment of discomfort there, right? Because we think we know them, like, "Oh gosh, how embarrassing," right? So if we can make it a little easier for the person. So many times I get that Steve. Anytime now somebody says Steve, I go, it used to be Steve. A couple weeks ago it was Tuesday, I changed it to Scott. Why would you change your name? So plan spontaneity, just looking for opportunities to add a little bit more humor to the situation. And then, as Richard did such a nice job, if you want humor to work, there needs to be trust developed, or humor can help develop trust, maybe sometimes a misperceived level of trust, just because humor does bring you closer together. Victor Borge said the shortest distance between two people is a good sense of humor, which I think is true. But it's paying a lot more attention to the what can I contribute, the WCIC. You know, when we get stressed and anxious and we're worried about ourselves, where does the focus go? It goes inward. If we truly want to cheer up, what we need to do is cheer somebody else up by WCIC, right? All right, this is Nancy McGraw with her son David. We had worked together for about 1 year when she came to me and we sat down and we said, okay, how can we better serve our clients and how can we better serve each other? We came up with one idea that made all the difference in the world. We came up with job descriptions for each other. And the job description was the exact same: to create each other's perfect world. Now, my perfect world revolves around more joy, less hassle. I think all of our perfect world in some way revolve around that, right? I want to come and go as I please. I want the freedom to create. I want a chance to make a difference in whatever unique way I want to make a difference in the world. So if you ask Nancy what she did for me, she'd say the stuff that doesn't show, which was just about everything. Nancy's perfect world, she said, revolved around her son David, the guy you see on the screen. At the time, he was just young, going to school. So I said, great. During the summer, take more time off, work from home. When David's sick, same thing. And as he got older, I knew if I truly wanted to make Nancy happy, and I think it's the secret, the truth. Can you hold on 1 minute? Nancy, can you do me a favor? Can you run to the boot of my car and grab my road calendar out? She had done this before. She runs to my car, opens up the boot. There's David in the boot. Surprise! Once we revived her, she was somewhere close to her perfect world. How can we create the perfect world of those around us? How can we contribute more? That truly is creating the right culture where humor will thrive. At the end of the day, the quality of life is determined by the quality of our relationships. I was excited to speak today because I'll do anything that Roshan asked me to do. We've been partners now through Together We Can Change the World in Leaderonomics for 10 years. And as Roshan said, all the money we raise through our seminars, 100% of it goes to the causes that we serve. It's the only partner we have around Southeast Asia that 100% goes. Normally our partner takes their share, but with Roshan, it all goes back to the community. And in that time, we've had a lot of laughs. We've shared a lot of fun times together, a lot of meaningful stuff. Jonathan Lau, who you'll hear a little later today, Global Speaker Federation president of the past 20 years now. I met him here through Malaysia Association of Professional Speakers as they were getting started in 2003, 20 years later. You'll hear a little from Dr. Avi, who's become a good new buddy of mine. And that's really what it's all about. The quality of life is determined by the quality of our relationships. Luciano de Crescenza said, we're all angels, but with only one wing. And only by embracing each other, we fly. Your mission to become a good leader, a great leader in disruptive times, is to help people fly. Thank you very much.